Okay, we are now live again after some internet challenges and difficulty for a pop up pop culture discussion. And we have joining us tonight to engage in this discussion around pop culture my good friend, the one and only Clayton. CJ, welcome. Glad that you could be here. I'm going to ask Rashad and Carlos mute yourselves until you speak, so that way we don't have unnecessary feedback. CJ, I'm glad you could be here. I don't think I could do it without you. I got to have someone who is going to be ever so nasty and ever so rude to me.
Never that. I
As
only
we
give
disagree
you.
on everything. Hey, Carrie, I'm glad you joined us. And
Thank you for having
Rashad,
me.
welcome. I'm happy to introduce you to the 3+1 Media family as one of our official commentators on pop culture. You do some amazing posts on Facebook, and I'm really excited to hear your commentary and your thoughts. I think you posted on all the topics that we're going to cover. And for everybody watching, hey, Cody, we're going to talk about Brandy. Hey, Angie, our other pop culture commentator, we're going to talk about Beyonce. We're going to talk about P Valley, and we're going to also really, again, hype up some great music that I heard last week from our last participant on the panel, the one and only, hey, Latrell, Carlos Dwayne. Carlos, my brother, welcome back.
Hey.
And so, I can't wait to talk in this session about your EP, your album. I went through it, my friend. I listened to every single song. I'm really excited about it. I know you're a Brandy fan, and so we're not going to belabor at all and go right into it. That's what I'm talking about now. Solomon, we're going to talk about Kamala on Thursday. So on Thursday at 9 o'clock, we're going to do a deep dive into Kamala with a really awesome guest. But today is all about the pop culture moment, and we're going to start right off with the very first one. I know CJ and Rashad and Carlos have a whole lot to say about this. So I'm going to mute myself, and CJ, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay. So where do we even start? Okay, so Brandy dropped her.
Angela started off with the big fat.
Yes. Hey, Ange, I miss you so much. I miss you. So Brandy dropped her studio album, B7. It came out on July 31st, I'm sorry. And the album is deep. She's talking about some different things that she's gone through, things that she has gone through. And I mean, the album's just amazing. I can't say nothing else. What she can do with her voice, how trained she is, how talented she is, it's sick to me. I'm not saying it because I'm a Brandy fan, a star. I'm not saying that because there was one song on the album I particularly didn't really care for. But the album is definitely great. Yes, yes, sorry.
Brandy's an AKA. Like I didn't know that.
She was inducted in Charlotte 3 years ago as an honorary AKA. Yes, she was.
Oh, because I was thinking that she never went to any. I didn't think she went to college. I didn't think she went to college. So, Carlos, I don't know what's going on with your connection. You may want to log out and then come back to us. I don't know what's going on. So I want you to come back because I noticed so very good. Carlos, I know that I went through, Angela is all about Brandy. And so I'm going to save my uneducated and uninformed opinion last because I'm going to be honest. I'm going to turn this over to Carlos. You are a musician. You're a trained musician. I saw your bio. I saw your amazing, your story about how you grew up with your dad's a musician.
Mm-hmm.
And, I can't wait to, share that with on our 3+1 Media website that's going to launch at the beginning of September. But I want to know your thoughts on Brandy. You've been a career-long fan of her work. And I want to know, honestly, why do you like Brandy and what did you think of this album? Because as someone who is not a musician, I was very unimpressed.
So for me, I've always been a Brandy fan because I feel like every album, and I was sitting and I was listening to this the other day. Every album that she's had has been different. It's been something different. her choices, her range, the way she stacks and does her harmonies and things like that is something that, you know, she kind of created a movement with that. So she's very respected as far as for me when it comes to music, because I learned a lot of how to stack vocals, how to do different harmonies and things from listening to Brandy's music. So I'm always going to be a fan of Brandy. You know, her tone is just one of a kind. Like when you listen to Brandy, you know it's Brandy.
Carlos, I want you to give me I want you to, you know, because again, I'm having this discussion because I'm not informed, right? Like
Okay.
I am not a musician. I cannot sing, but I can only appreciate the art form. When you say that Brandy taught you how to stack vocals, give me an example of where Brandy has stacked vocals on a song that I may know.
So, she does it on all her songs, but even Full Moon, you know, those background harmony. I'll say Full Moon because that's a song that everybody knows. I feel like as she started getting more into her career, I feel like she started to do it more. She's been doing it, but you know, like when you hear her voice, but it sounds like a bunch of voices or a bunch of her voices at the same time.
I do. I know exactly what you mean. So this is my question. Now, so again, I'm going to ask a lot of questions to everybody out there that may make me sound ignorant, but I'm by omission telling you I do not know a lot about music, but I want to learn. That's why I have experts here to educate me about this topic so I can be more informed. When I hear the background sounds, I do know that is Brandy's voice, and I do know, you know, I get that part, and I did love the Full Moon album. I love Almost Doesn't Count. That's my personal favorite Brandy song. And like I said in the first discussion I had with CJ, that really seemed to infuriate him on the Five Guys Live. I actually have been a fan of Brandy's music without necessarily giving her credit as being a good musician or a good vocalist. Carlos, is it not the production that makes that happen? Like, that's what I always gave credit to. So I've been sitting here saying that Rodney Jerkins is a phenomenal producer, that he has done amazing work, and I've been giving all the credit to Rodney Jerkins for Brandy's success and for Brandy's accomplishment, because to me, he's the one taking her voice and making all that magic happen.
So when it comes to the production, the engineers and the people who mix and master the vocals and everything like that, they do play the major part in making it sound the way that it sounds, because you can stack vocals all day, but if it's not blended right, it won't sound good. So they have mastered how to, and she's worked with multiple producer Rodney Jerkins, Shiz, who passed away, a bunch of different people who really were a big impact in her career, but they had to master how to mix her vocals to make them sound blended, because it's more than backgrounds. When you stack vocals, you can stack vocals on a verse, but it needs to sound like one voice, but just make it sound full. And so with Brandy, her part in that is knowing that, okay, I have to do this the same exact way that I did it. Or if I'm doing a different harmony or a different run or a different note, I have to make sure that this fits into that part. I have to make sure that this flows and make sure that it's cohesive. It's a whole bunch of things that you have to think about when stacking. Most of the time when people stack, it's exactly like the last take. So imagine doing 3 takes and having to do it exactly like the last take without adding any type of note. I mean, it takes training. But when it comes to her harmonies and stuff like that, when stacking them, you got to know what's cohesive. And her ear with music is what makes her stand out so much, because her ear for where to put notes, her little nuances and things that she does, where it lands on certain things, is just flawless. And so I think that's what makes Brandy what people consider the vocal Bible. There's other people that have range. There's other people that have more range. There's other people that have, to me, I think there are other people who have more range and more different things going on. But as a musician, your ear, her tone, her breathing, like a whole bunch of things that make her a vocalist is what makes her so good.
You know, I would think I have more respect for her, being that she is a Mississippi native. But you know, I guess not. But just to piggyback off what Carlos said, she has literally trained her voice to where it's like a computer, and she doesn't need that auto tune. Like, she has done that before auto tune was even like invented. Like, the things that she can do with her voice, the ranges that she can hit, and the way she can just fluctuate back and forth, like, it's just sickening to me. It really is. And that's why a lot of people look up to her. A lot of people respect her in the game and respect her craft and what she's able to do. Now, with this B7 album, of course, a lot of people have came to me and they weren't really feeling the album. A lot of people, I heard a lot of negativity about the album. And to me, I think it's a great album. Do I think it's 211? Absolutely not. But I do think it's a solid body of work.
And so, that's what I want to talk about. So I want our viewers to let us know, what is your favorite Brandy song, number one. And then I want you to let us know, what is your favorite Brandy song, if you have one. And then, did you listen to the new album, and what are your thoughts on the new album, B7? And, I want to know, because to be honest with you, I've been seeing a lot of her Brandy fans are hardcore. I applaud you. I support you for standing, in the gap. The album is number 12 on the Billboard Top 200. The album is number 1 among Billboard R&B. However, those charts are a little different in the digital age. So with that being said, I really want to know, is this album a good body of work from a musical ear? Because I'm going to tell you, when I heard it, it just sounded like a bunch of whispering over instruments. And to me, it sounded like, let me finish, CJ. It sounded like something that she probably did at home during quarantine that I could have done on GarageBand. Now, that's what I heard. But again, I am not trained as a musician, so I may not be qualified to give insight into this. So I want to know what your thoughts are.
No, you're definitely, first of all, you're entitled to your opinion. And you don't have to be a trained musician to have an ear for music. I'm not a trained musician because I don't sing. That's Carlos's lane. He can sing, he can write, he can perform. That's his lane. But I definitely have an ear for music. And she probably did do it in her studio, in her mansion. Okay, she has a studio in her house, so I'm sure she did. But to say that it was whispering, it's funny that you said that, because a lot of other people did say that they didn't really understand some of the words that she was saying, particularly like on Lucid Dreams. They had to kind of like look at the lyrics to understand what she was saying. But Brandy has never been that type of person that you can never understand what she's saying. Like, you can kind of clearly hear what she's saying, what she's singing. And if you're really not getting into the music and not really feeling the album, then of course you're just going to think everything sounds like blah, 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 blah. Like, it just sounds like nothing. But the way that she just transitioned each song into each track, like every song just went into another track. Every song just went into another track, and it just flowed so perfectly. So I think she's going to be nominated for a Grammy for Borderline, to be honest with you. I don't think it'll be album of the year, no, but I do believe that Borderline will get her Grammy nominated. I do.
Yikes. That's a big, bold statement. I know, Carlos, you're ready to jump in. Again, I know that my statement was probably inflammatory to the Brandy community, and I don't mean it that way. I'm just being honest, and I definitely want to highlight what I think about it. So, Renthia, I will say this. I am, for someone who, obviously you're not a Brandy fan either, but I'm a fan of some of the music. I believe that her best album, hands down, was Human. And I think a lot of people, that is my opinion. Next to Full Moon. Yeah, maybe. But again, I think that Human is my personal favorite album. That's my personal. So I would recommend, if you're not someone who is really giving Brandy a fair shot, I recommend starting there, especially for her newer work. So, and with that being said, Carlos, take it away. You're muted. Carlos, you're muted.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me now? So I was saying that Human is my favorite album too. Because, and I don't know if it's because I was going through something at the time and that album got me through what I was going through, but I just love Human sonically, the structure of it and everything. But when it comes to the B7 album, when you talk about a body of work, the cohesiveness of it and how everything runs into the next song is definitely a body of work. The storyline behind it, behind the songs and how it seems like it's telling a story or it's taking us through this journey that she went through, I definitely think it is a body of work. Is it my favorite Brandy album? It's probably After Human, and this is why for me. I love 211, I love Full Moon, I love all of those, but I love seeing Brandy vulnerable. I feel like she talked about in this album experiences that a lot of people are not talking about with mental health when it comes to love, when it comes to, you know, going crazy over somebody or the certain things that we wouldn't expect. At one time, Brandy was supposed to be like this innocent pop princess or R&B princess or whatever. She was supposed to be like this innocent person that was just this squeaky clean thing. And I think that's why I loved Human and this one so much, is because it showed us her raw side of how she really feels. Do I feel like on certain songs, you know, and Shiz, who worked with her on this album, and it was K Camp who worked with her on this album too. But Shiz passed away before the album was put out, and everything like that. And so I do feel like there were some songs that were a little too tuned. And when you listen to Brandy, if you listen to her old stuff and you listen to this one, you can hear some of it some parts sound a little robotic, but it sounds like they try to stack too many things on at one time. And sometimes they can become overwhelming to the ear if you just listen to music. But certain people that appreciate, you know, those things will appreciate them, but it's not a consumer's album. It's really not.
And I do want to make a correction. My favorite Brandy album is Human, but under Human is Never Say Never. I don't know why I thought the Never Say Never album was a Full Moon album. That is my second favorite album. Then it would be Full Moon followed by Aphrodisiac.
Well, you know, the funny thing is she didn't even think that she doesn't like Human. That's why when she ever does performances, she'll never do anything from Human. She actually feels that Ronnie Jerkins lowballed her on that album. And she felt like it wasn't his greatest work. And she's been very public about it. And when they had the whole reality TV show with the Brandy and Ray J family business affair, her and Ronnie Jerkins had it out. Like, you know, she felt like he didn't do the work that he normally, you know, used to doing for her. Personally, my favorite album, it was Never Say Never, but when 211 came out, it was 211. I think Sean Garrett did an amazing job producing that album. And she had a lot of heavy hitters producing on that album. You know, she had Frank Ocean writing, she had Chris Brown, she had Seven Streeter, she had Mike Wilmay, she had Bangladesh. So she had a lot of great producers on that album. And I also like Aphrodisiac because Timbaland did that album, and Timbaland is a phenomenal producer. So yeah, again, this album B7, I love it. I like her being honest and vulnerable and opening up about things that she's going through. But it's not my favorite album. But I love the album.
So we're going to talk about Candace's comments in that number one, because it seems like, you know, again, I do appreciate CJ you joining us because you are a real fan of her work. And Candy has stated some things that we have heard about Brandy in terms of her being very difficult or hard to work with. And so, and you also, I'm going to say, give it a minute, CJ. I'm going to let you take a moment to collect your thoughts. But as we talked about, Rashad is having some internet connectivity issues. But he is let me tell you something about this young man. You know, I don't know Rashad very well. CJ, I didn't know you either. But I recognize talent when I see talent. And I recognize people that have a voice that is worthy of amplifying at a time like this. So Rashad Walker, I'm glad you were able to at least join us in the chat. Rashad has some extremely insightful and pointed pop culture commentary. Now, I will say this. I don't think that I've agreed with very much that Rashad has posted, if anything. And I really love to give voice to people that think differently than me about everything except Donald Trump. With that being said, I'm going to read for you gentlemen. Hold up, CJ. You're focused on Candy's question. Do not focus on this right now. So I want you, Carlos, to think about this. And this is from Rashad Walker, official commentator for 3+1 Media. The album was a snooze fest for me in terms of something I wouldn't want to listen to on my own time. However, I understand that this was a transformative body of work showing her growth over the past 7 to 8 years. I'm glad she's still in the game, but older albums, as supported by George in an earlier comment, like Brandy, Never Say Never, Full Moon, and Aphrodisiac will always be my favorite eras from her. Carlos, what do you think about this? And does Brandy have a chance to really make a comeback in a new era? Or is she too old? Like CJ called me too old last night to run for office.
Remember, you're only 35 years old.
CJ, you are muted.
So for me, like I said, this was not a consumer's album. This was very much like people when Anti came out by Rihanna. A lot of people didn't feel that because there was a lot of different things that she did that was done musically on that album. When Lemonade by Beyonce came out, a lot of people weren't feeling that completely because it wasn't Beyonce or B-Day or Crazy in Love. I mean Dangerously in Love. So a lot of people don't really. This is not an album that I think she thinks is going to be like a fan favorite from everybody because it's one of those bodies of work that's made for people who are fans of Brandy or people who need this type of music right now. Because everybody's not going to get this style of where she's going with this. And when you think of Brandy, Never Say Never, Full Moon, Aphrodisiac, 211, they were very R&B albums.
You know what, Carlos? You hit it. Like I'm going to say like that was for me the light bulb experience, right? Like that's what it was. My aha moment, as Oprah would say, let me go ahead and coin. That was the light bulb experience for me. Because when you said Anti, I loved Anti. That was one of my favorite albums, if not my favorite album by Rihanna. Candy agreed. But you know what? I'm a Rihanna fan. When you said Lemonade by Beyonce, that's also one of my favorite Beyonce. It's not my favorite Beyonce album. My favorite Beyonce album is 4, but Lemonade is in the top. It's because I'm a fan of Beyonce. So I get it. I absolutely understand why so many Brandy fans love B7 because it is a personal album, as Rashad said, that documents her journey, that is a part of the journey that she is taking you through or taking you on as an artist. And that's why her real fans get it and why they like it. And I'm thankful that you gave me that light bulb experience. CJ, if you could give us your thoughts on the difficult nature of what it's like to work with this woman.
Well, I know Brandy personally, and she is not difficult to work with. She is a sweetheart, and she's humble, and she's down to earth.
I heard she had it out with everybody.
No. So once upon a time when Sonia Norwood was managing her, which is her mom, she was a crazy momager. And I'm not saying crazy in a bad way. She was very protective of Brandy. And she wanted things a certain way to be done. And she wanted to make sure that her child was going to get the best of everything that she was, enduring with her career. And a lot of people did not want to work with Brandy because of Sonia Norwood. And that's why she separated the business part of her and her mother so it wouldn't ruin the relationship between them two. It was another Jasmine Sullivan situation. Like a lot of people wanted to work with Jasmine Sullivan, but because of her mother, momager, a lot of people didn't want to work with Jasmine Sullivan because her mom was a bitch to work with. And that's the same thing with Brandy. So it was never Brandy. It was always Sonia that was always given the backlash and given all the complications because she was difficult to work with. It wasn't Brandy. And that's why Brandy went the way she would. Now, I will say if Sonia was still managing her, I do feel like Brandy probably would have been a little bit more further in her career. But it was never Brandy.
So Rashad makes a really good point, though. Like, can we use that as an excuse for what has become Brandy's brand of difficulty when Beyonce should have the same brand, but nobody says that about Beyonce. Everyone says, I want to work with Beyonce. Working with Beyonce is like the golden ticket from Willy Wonka.
First of all, Matthew was managing them when they were Destiny's Child, and I think he managed a little bit when she became solo, and then Tina took over. So Matthew was more of the Destiny's Child area when they were.
I was gonna say to that though. When Matthew was managing Beyonce, think about all of the controversy and things that happened at that time where people did not like Beyonce because they said that she was hard to work with, or that she was a bitch, or that all these things.
You're right. Well, let me tell you, this is horrible what I'm going to say. So God forgive me. I want all of you to forgive. I'm not going to say it because I might get canceled.
No, go ahead and say it.
No, what I was going, Candy said, and this is horrible. This is horrible. Candy said, I did hear that Brandy's mouth was a tad bit reckless. I was going to say, so is her driving. You can't hold it against her. But I'm not going to say that because that's awful to say. And Angie came right back and said that difficulty is they don't take no BS. And then Candy came back to say, I bet they would say about me too. I don't know if they would.
So let's say I manage an R&B artist here that's on the cast right now, okay? And Carlos is very...
You manage Carlos Dwayne. Tell everybody so they can know. Carlos Dwayne is an R&B artist, cutting edge. You are his manager.
Yes, which I just said. I'm his manager, Carlos Dwayne. Check out the new album, Blank Slate, now available on all platforms, musical platforms. And bottom line is he's never he's very humble, very down to earth, but he knows what he wants and he knows how he wants it. Can it come off as being a little diva-ish sometimes? He has his diva moments sometimes, but he's not disrespectful. He's not ungrateful, and he's very humble. But again, as an artist, this is your career. This is your passion. This is what you want done. So if it sometimes comes out that you're being a little whatever, because you want your project to be great, then you just have to take it with a grain of salt. It doesn't make them a bad person. It doesn't mean that their mouth is reckless. It doesn't mean none of that. Because there's a lot of work that these artists put in, a lot of time, a lot of sacrifice, a lot of dedication that people just don't understand, especially when you're an independent artist, like Carlos is.
Yeah,
you know,
this is a good time to go, CJ, into Carlos. Candy, you do need to download. Angie, don't go. You know that there's no way I could talk about Brandy without somehow weaving in that incident. And I didn't go into detail. I didn't say too much. I couldn't avoid it.
You said enough,
could not avoid it. It wouldn't be Zach if I didn't do it. But I want to say you do need to download the album. This is the thing. I am not someone who is ever going to tell any of my +1 community members to do, buy, or engage in something that I don't believe in. And I'm going to be extremely honest, Carlos, when I listened to your body of work on Spotify, it was a Friday after our show. We had you on a Thursday, and I had not had time to really dig into your whole collection. I hadn't had the time because it was about getting you on, getting the interview, building up good content. But when I listen on a Friday morning, I'm sitting down, going through my to-do list, listening to music in the background, I was extremely impressed. And I was like, wow, what he is building is a real, genuine body of work that is truly going to give him a career that's going to last. You can sing. You can sing. Many people that look like you and who call themselves singers may not have the talent and they may not have the gift. You can sing. In addition to being able to sing, you made work or a body of work that actually speaks to mature adult experiences. And I appreciate that. Actually, I was like, I wish it was a little bit more poppy in some parts, but that's not who you are. And that's not the niche that you're carving out for yourself. So tell us a little bit, tell all the people that are watching this now and that are going to catch the pop-up later, what would be a good entry point for them into the work that is Carlos Dwayne?
So I definitely think that you should start with this album. I think that this album for me was me realizing kind of getting in my pocket. I think that I did things before that were good and everything like that, but I think this really was in my pocket as far as this album goes. I'm very proud of this body of work, like you said. It really was a story. It really was a journey for audience who has gone through love and the joys and the bullshit and all the crazy things about love. And so for this one, I really took my time with this one. It took me 2 years to make this, but it was because there were things that I was like, it doesn't work for this, or for the story that I'm trying to tell, it's not what this is given. But it's a variety of different songs that I feel like you will fall in love with at least one of the songs. So I definitely think that they should you know.
Yeah, you will fall in love. I love a song. I have a favorite song.
Which
Can
one?
you tell me what do you when you look at Zachary Kirk? What is my favorite song on this album?
You want to go first, Carlos?
I would
get?
Naive.
I was gonna say Naive too, if not Naive. Fan.
It is not Naive. It's not my favorite. My favorite song on the album is Bad Guy. Love it. Love the song. I think it is well done. I love it, love it, love it. I listen to it multiple times. And when I'm listening through and have to listen multiple times, I know that this is a hit. It's a credible, it's a winning song. So
thank you so much.
Yep. And again, you guys can find the album on in your iTunes. You can also download the songs on Spotify. I love Spotify, and it's where I listen to my music and many of my podcasts. And speaking, yes, CJ.
Not only just listen, I have to put it. Also, support independent artists. Support Black independent artists. Go to Spotify and actually buy the album. Go to iTunes and actually buy the album. You know, it's only $99, $7.99, I think, on Spotify. So support Black independent artists.
Can you buy albums on Spotify?
Yes.
I don't know if you can buy it on Spotify.
On Apple, you can. I know.
On iTunes and you know, I think iTunes is the only one because Tidal you have a subscription, so you get the music. Spotify you have a subscription, so you get the music. So it works like that. But the hard thing about being an artist, which is why I still respect so many artists, is because you know you can get 100,000 streams and still only get like $2,000.
You can say that again because that's a really important point that you just made.
So you can get 100,000 streams. I was looking at something that was researched on all the platforms, and Tidal pays the most from what I researched. But out of 100,000 streams, you only get like $2,900. So wow. I put more into that. I put more money into this album, and so then $2,900 for 100,000 streams. So when people purchase the album or whatever, it's very helpful to us because for me, somebody like me, and I know a whole bunch of other artists, when we get money from that stuff, I don't touch it. I put it into my next project. I don't go spend it at the mall. I don't go drinking with it or whatever. I put it into the next project because I want the next project to be better than this project. So definitely support me and other independent artists that you know and share it. Because even if you don't like it or, you know, it's something that you do like, when you share it with somebody else, they'll like it. They'll share it. They'll do, and it'll keep going. So I think that's very important too.
Do you spend a lot of money on drinking?
I don't spend a lot of money on drinking.
Because you said I don't spend the money on drinking. It's a whole lot of things you could have chose to say you spend your money on, but you said you spend your money on drinking. I'm just wondering.
Going out and, you know, having a good time and things like that. Like, I don't spend that money on that. Hell, with the amount of money that I, that's why I said 100,000 streams like 2,900. That probably will get you, you know, a nice little vacation or whatever. But think about 2 years of work, and think about the people who don't even get 100,000 streams. Think about 2 years of work where you put in thousands of dollars to get 500 back.
Okay, so if I go on Apple, and I'm going to be honest, I haven't bought anything on iTunes in years. Like, I've migrated over, of course, fully to Spotify. And so when I go on to iTunes to buy the album, how much of that will you then get?
So I'll get more of a percentage. So the album is $7.99 on iTunes. So I'll probably at least get 3-4 of that, which is still way more than I'm getting for streams. So,
Angie, what are you drinking? So tell us I want to know, what is your drink of choice? Like, you know, are you a brown girl? Are you you like your white liquor? Do you do wine? What is Angie Maxwell's drink of choice? And while Angie is ready to share with us our drink of choice, and you know, we're gonna go and talk about the one and the only Beyonce knows Carter and the release of Black is King. That is right after Brandy. They both hit at the same time, caused a internet sensation on Twitter. I want to know from the musician and manager's point of view, what did you think of this? Rashad, if you're still with us, I want to know your thoughts on this. There was lots of commentary, and I also have some interesting thoughts on it as a Beyonce fan that may not be in line with a lot of our other fans. Gentlemen, I'm going to turn it over to you. Take it away.
So with this, I'm not a Beyonce fan, but I respect talent what talent is due and where people put hard work. And there's nothing negative that I can say about The Black is King. It was a beautiful piece of work, a beautiful visual that was brought to life from her music. Well done, well choreographed, like well put together. There's nothing I can say negative about it. Nothing. The costumes, the looks, the dances, the production, the quality, the sound, like everything was just amazing. And again, I'm not a Beyonce fan, but I will say every time Beyonce does a project, she puts her all into it. She gives the fans, not only the fans, but she also gives the world what they're looking for and what they want. And it was true genius. So I can't say nothing negative about it. I think it was amazing. I have nothing negative to say about it.
You know, Crazy Boy, you can get my password. I have that Disney account. I'm happy to share. I haven't shared it with anybody, so I think I get 5 logins. I paid for a Hulu Disney combo, so I will be texting you after the live. What do you think about it? You know, what are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on it, Carlos?
So for me, I am a Beyonce fan. All the way back into the Destiny's Child days, back into the girl time. So for this project, I feel like this was creativity, Black excellence, artistry at its finest. Like I feel like every time I feel like Beyonce cannot top herself, she tops herself. Like from Lemonade on HBO to The Homecoming on Netflix, I was like, how can she top that? And then she came and did it with this, like the fashion, the story. I've seen a lot of references from like Prince of Egypt. I know it was about Lion King, but I've seen some Prince of Egypt references in there. Like I feel like it was very well thought out, and I feel like I just feel like anybody who has anything negative to say about it is trying to find something negative and is a hater.
Well, Leb right here said it was TRASH.
Well, you spelled trash wrong. It's TR. Did he say TR? It's TRASH. I think he put TH.
No, yeah, that's what he said. He said TRASH.
He said that. You know, I am a Beyonce fan, and I really enjoy what she endeavored to do with the piece. I did. But I cannot say that I love the music because it just wasn't it just wasn't for me. The Afro rhythm, the Afro sound, it just was not for me. It didn't appeal to me at all. I didn't like the Lion King. It just didn't appeal to me as a fan. I appreciate her for what she's done. I appreciate the artistry. I firmly believe that Beyonce has the right to innovate. She has earned that. She has paid the price to the community, to the culture, and to the art to do whatever it is that she wants to do. She is able to go outside of any box that anyone puts her in. It just wasn't something that I truly enjoy a great deal of. And so what we will do is now share Rashad's thoughts on the album and what Rashad said to kind of counter what Leb said, calling it unfortunately common gutter trash. He said, why don't you read it for us, CJ?
I love this body of work, mainly because she didn't have to do it. Love that she told the true story of Lion King with real Black people, talent from Africa itself. She used the widest platform, the widest platform, Disney, to showcase us an ancestors' culture, traditions, and lineage with dignity and pride. She's unapologetic about being Black, and her days of being a pop star to appease the white mainstream masses are over. Capitalized over.
I mean, that's a powerful statement, Rashad. That's a very powerful statement.
You said it well. He said it best. I don't think no one else can even say anything. Like, Rashad, you said that. You nailed it. I mean, that's true.
You cannot say I don't have an eye for talent. You cannot say I don't see talent. I don't know talent when I see it. Even if I don't agree with the talent, I know this young man has a keen eye for pop culture.
I mean, he said that.
I think that, and that's what I was having this conversation with somebody, and I said at this point in Beyonce's career, she can do whatever she wants to, and white people are going to buy it either way. So I feel like she's capitalizing on that because she went from HBO to Netflix to Disney Plus. Like she's putting black, and Lemonade had black culture in it. Coachella had black culture in it. This had black culture. So she's putting it all across the eyes of people who may not have seen it otherwise. And I feel like with the album, am I the biggest fan of The Gift? Being a Beyonce fan, is it my favorite thing? No, but I understand it was for The Lion King. I understand it was for The Lion King, and what she did was take The Lion King and unwhitewash it, which is what Disney did, and show the true African culture of what The Lion King is. And I feel like she needed those African beats to add that stuff in there.
To make it authentic. I agree. Right. No, I agree that it was needed, and I agree that it was needed. I'm just simply saying that it didn't appeal to my aesthetic for music. And so, Angela, I think, kind of no, of course, The Lion King wasn't a true story, but it was based in African tradition, African folklore, and African mythology. Additionally, Black is King was really meant to showcase and highlight and do a modern day or contemporary adaptation of the African kings and queens that have been traditionally removed from the historical experience of how we view and how we experience the kingdoms of Africa. That's what Beyonce was trying to do. And again, I love the visuals of it. I applaud it. And I also am highly appreciative of how Beyonce highlighted African artists that we would not know or have never seen and brought them into mainstream American culture. I also appreciate how Beyonce was able to put money into the economy of the African entertainment industry. And all of that. She is doing more than almost any other artist out there in the game to give back. And she should, because we have given her more than we've given many artists who are in the game. And I said earlier, Jay, that I agree. 4 was my personal favorite from Beyonce as well. So George says that he has not seen it, but he plans to. He loves her music, but he is not a fan. And so per se, like maybe some other, like I am, like, if Beyonce comes to Atlanta, Zachary Kirk is going to find a way to see Beyonce in Atlanta. And it will be the best seat that I can that's open, regardless of the cost. I'll find a way. And then Leb said there was not one human in Lion King. There's no correlation here. Stop it. There is a correlation, and hopefully the benefit of the 3+1 Media website is that we will be able to write out those things and give you hardcore evidence and facts when the time comes. I want to know from both of you, what for you is your favorite Beyonce album, your favorite Beyonce song, fan or not, and then we'll transition into our next topic and we talk about P-Valley Poppin'. And that goes for those of you who are watching and viewing along with us. Like Crazy Boy Jay said, his favorite Beyonce album is 4. What's your favorite song? Other people on our chat are viewing favorite album. Take it away, gentlemen.
Carl, well, I can go. So even though I'm not a fan of Beyonce, which I've made that, again, I recognize talent and respect. But my favorite Beyonce album, honestly, is Dangerously in Love and her self-titled album, Beyonce. They're my top 2 favorite albums by her. My favorite song by her, she has a song called Body Rock, which is an unreleased track that she never released. And I love it. So yeah, that would be my favorite song. That and Blow. For me. I love the song Blow off of Beyonce title album Beyonce. And honestly, she dropped that album on my birthday, December 13th. It was in 2012 or 13, something like that. So yeah.
So first off, CJ, I'm gonna say you say you aren't a fan, but you're a fan to know her unreleased tracks. You don't go find somebody unreleased.
I listen to music. I like music. So this is okay. So I'm not a fan. Okay, I'm not in a beehive, but I do like Beyonce. I just don't like all her music. Let me say that. I feel like Beyonce doesn't talk about nothing I can relate to. Honestly, she doesn't. Dangerous in Love.
People in the beehive. I'm in the beehive, but I don't stand everything that Beyonce does. There's still things that I don't like. So you can still be a fan of somebody and not like everything that they do.
You're right. So that'd be me then. That's me.
So for me, my favorite album is 4 as well. 4 is my favorite album. My favorite song off of that album is I Care. But my favorite Beyonce song, and this is probably nobody else's, Jealous is my favorite song off of the Beyonce self-titled album. That's my favorite Beyonce song. I think it's just because I can connect to it really well at the time when it came out and everything. But I love 4 because it's so vulnerable. And she was really singing. I feel like Beyonce showed a new level of her as a vocalist on that album. I love it.
I actually like 1+1 too.
I don't like bad math, but I think, a number of people are saying that their favorite song is I Miss You. And guess what? I love that song too. I mean, I really do. I love I Miss You. I do. I do. That is probably my number 2. It was close. I was thinking about saying I Miss You. I really love Mine from Yeah, I love Mine. I love that song. But I had to land and say my favorite is Start Over. And it's probably a personal song and a personal connection because many times you know that when you're in love, you're in relationships, sometimes you do have to start over. You have to let go of whatever the damage is or whatever hurts you in that relationship and start that whole process over of learning to love again. So I think, again, for me, it's going to be Start Over. And again, that favorite one would be 4. Loving the fact that so many of you agree and love 4 with me. And then the emotion, you know what? Emotions is another beautiful song. I love that song too. There's so many Beyonce songs that may not have been like radio hits, but were just beautiful, beautiful songs. And so my good friend and classmate, you and I both, we're getting better and better with age. Just, look at us, Nick, look at us. We're going to talk about the show P-Valley. I don't know where CJ went. I know that he loves P-Valley. Hopefully he's going to come back soon. I know some of you may not have yet seen this program. It's a brand new show on Stars. I know that many people canceled their Stars subscription once Ghost was killed. You let it go. And I understand that because, the streaming costs that we are incurring, they're getting ridiculous. You're paying for a basic cable plan with internet. You're paying for HBO Max, maybe. I'm not yet, but soon. You're paying for Disney. You're paying for Apple TV. You're paying for Hulu. You're paying for Netflix. And now you're paying to stream Stars. But I will say that this show, I have some conflicting feelings. Carlos, do you watch it?
Yes, I love you guys.
So I know, hopefully CJ is going to join us back in a moment. Let me see. He just texted. Let's see what he said. Hopefully I know he was cooking some meat. He says, I got to log back on. Come on back. So he's coming back. I hope.
He's coming back because he's going to want to talk about P-Valley.
Okay.
I'm in the valley where the girls get naked.
And so he's coming back. And so I want to know, people, you guys are saying you like the show. I want to know what you like about the show, what your thoughts are on the show. And we're going to talk about, because there's some things about P-Valley I like. And then there's some things about P-Valley that I do not like. And that's kind of why I want to, and Angie, I'm late to the party as well. I'm on episode 3. I finished episode 4. I haven't watched the most recent episode. So I'm coming back in and we'll get it. And so Joy Shaw says it's a mess. And so, we're gonna, maybe I need a fire stick. Carlos, tell me what you like. Let's talk about it.
So for me, I feel like it's a very raw show. And I think what I like about it is it shows. How can I say this? It shows a different level of the Black culture that we don't see on TV. Like, I don't think we had anything like this since the Players Club. And so it also shows the lifestyle of strippers, so that people are not just thinking about strippers as what they are. Like, it shows them that they're real people, and it shows the certain struggles and things that they go through and why they have to do what it is that they're doing. And I also feel like it shows talent, because stripping or pole dancing or whatever is not easy. And I feel like it's showcasing the art form of being a stripper and not just the ass shaking. Like, the performances that they have on the pole is, like, to me, I feel like it's a form of dance that is not easy at all. You muted.
Yeah, you're muted. You're muted. You're muted.
That is something that CJ and I talked about on last night's Five Guys Live, and we didn't agree because he feels as though sex work may not require as much talent as I say it does. I firmly believe that being a sex worker requires a level of talent that many people lack. I love the fact that this show is about strippers, and that it is normalizing the reality that needs to be normalized for a lot of people. You have always had sex workers earn a living in this world from the beginning of time, and you're going to have it until the end of time. And it is nothing wrong with that as your career, if that is a choice that you are making for yourself. Should you be forced into it? No. Should you be coerced into it? No. Should you be forced to maintain or continue it? No. But if it's a choice that you make for your life, you should be empowered to do so, and you should be able to have an actual career in doing it. I will say that Timberland said here.
Boy, I know what I said.
Wait, what did you say, CJ?
I said, I know what I said, Crazy Boy Jay. Here he goes, chiming in.
Well, Crazy Boy Jay, I appreciate your chime in, because we need to remind.
If you can tell the story correctly. What I said was there was no talent that goes into OnlyFans. We said nothing about stripping. We were talking about OnlyFans is what we were talking about. So, Crazy Boy Jay, if you want to call me out on the right thing.
So I want, because in a minute, Candy, your comment's going to go away, but I do want us to talk about Uncle Cliff, because that character for me is very problematic, and we'll talk about it. But I want to say, before we talk about Uncle Cliff, I want to hit on what Timberland said. I agree 100%, Timberland. That first episode was scattered, and it caused me to kind of tune out. And I really think my negative assessment of the show may have come from the pilot episode. I might need to really reconsider some of the things, because I'm looking to see if the things I didn't like are getting better. I will say that the acting in the show is not top notch. I'm going to be, in my opinion, I have seen good acting from one person. That's what I've seen. One person to me is giving me, I'm a trained Brandy.
Brandy Evans, who plays Mercedes.
Yes. Brandy Evans. And so to me, she's phenomenal. Her acting is on point. And maybe it's because I know Brandy, and that's not how Brandy Evans does not act like that. She's an English teacher. She was an English teacher.
Isn't she a trained choreographer too?
Yes, she is. But she has a degree in English, so she knows how to articulate. She knows how to speak. She is well read, and when she is there, she is acting her butt off. When they were filming P Valley, she came to my spin class, and we would spin side by side, because she was making sure that body was on point. And never talked about the show, never let anyone know. She just said, when the show comes on, you guys watch it. I had no idea that she was the star of the show. Like, I thought maybe she had like a small background role.
The show's been done since 2018. They actually were filming it since then. They were just waiting for it to get picked up.
Yep. And they did some reshoots. And so I had no clue, no idea about it. And so, I want to know your thoughts on it. Many people are saying things like it really does show what stripper life is like from an authentic perspective and an authentic point of view. And Candy, Brandy is Mercedes. Brandy plays a role of Mercedes.
Right. So I had actually got cut off when you guys had did the whole intro or slide into P Valley. But let me first give a shout out to Patrick and Polk because he's executive producer on this. And if you guys don't know who he is, he actually produced Noah's Ark, a very popular show back in the early mid 2000s. I think this show is amazing. I think it showcased strippers and their talent and how they are well-trained dancers and just the work that they do, honestly, and then the things that go on behind the scenes. To me, I feel like it's more of an in-depth players club, but there's more that's going on. Like if you think about it, Uncle Cliff has issues, Dollar Bill had issues. You know what I'm saying? He owed money, you know what I'm saying, to the people that were looking for him. You know what I'm saying? Uncle Cliff owns, money to, to keep the building up. So I just feel like there's a lot of similarities with, the Players Club. But it's a good show. I think it's a great platform. And they got signed up for season 2. So.
I agree with you. Again, the show has some strengths. This is what Rashad, our official 3+1 pop culture commentator said, what I love about Peak Valley is that they are humanizing the DL man. Many times men like Lil Murder, who are both masculine and still in the closet, are often the villains of society without having sympathy that not every man can come out and live their life out loud, especially Black men who are talented but wouldn't be able to break through in these hyper masculine industries. I would kind of back to say, is he DL? Like maybe he's just has a sexuality that's on the spectrum. I think to say that you're DL to me implies that you are gay and you are pretending not to be. But could it be that he's somewhere else on the LGBTQIA plus spectrum? That's what I thought about the character. But I
don't think that they're also focusing just on him because he's not like the main focus of the show. So. But
I was going to say,
like what Rashad said,
Well, I was going to say though, honestly, what I loved about the show is that even though he is the masculine or DL type of whatever, he's not DL. He's the one that's trying to go public with their relationship. It's Uncle Cliff who is the more feminine and the more flamboyant one who's pushing back on that, which is not something that you often see.
But why is he doing it?
In the world?
He's doing it for a reason. If you caught the last episode, he was like, "Are you ready for all
that?" I didn't see the last episode, so don't ruin it. I'm gonna watch it tonight.
I won't ruin it, but I will say he is doing it for a reason. However, that's not what we see on day to day. Normally, we see the more masculine one or the rapper or the whoever is the one that's not trying to come out.
Right.
And they're flipping that and showing that it's a different aspect of that and that he is the one that's like, let's go public with our relationship. Why should it be secret? And for other reasons, the more flamboyant one is the one that's not trying to. And it's showing a different side of what we see in the world.
Let me say this. I'm going to open up now. I want you guys to talk about your thoughts on Uncle Cliff. I want to say this. I am from the great state of Mississippi. And I absolutely have seen men who are, I don't want to say ghetto fabulous. That may not be appropriate. But I hope I'm not offending anyone. But I really feel like this is the epitome of ghetto fabulous ratchetness in a man who is not to, I can't even say Uncle Cliff dresses like a woman or wants to be a woman because I don't think that's what he does. He just dresses like this, in my opinion, because it is an authentic expression of what he wants to do. I don't think that he's in any way wanting to be a woman as personified by his sexuality on the show. I think it's just how he chooses to express. And I know men in Mississippi who do that. However, I do think some of it is a little bit over the top and may not be authentic for what I know in Mississippi. So an example, this whole look is a little bit too extravagant and a little bit too expensive than what I would see for the traditional Mississippi experience. That's just my opinion. And I also think that some of the writing of his character just goes a little bit too far into unbelievable territory. And I know with that being said, I need to give you evidence. I need to give you, as CJ would say, receipts. When I watched the episode, what is the girl, the light-skinned girl that's laundering $9,000 every time through telefax? What's her name?
Autumn Night.
Autumn Nights?
Autumn Nights.
Oh, her name is Autumn Night?
Yes.
Well,
Oh,
that's
that's
not her real name.
Autumn name.
That's not her real name.
That's
That's
the
her
name she
stripper
going.
name.
Oh, that's a stripper name. So okay, Autumn Night. So when Uncle Clifford took Autumn Night's fake ID to make her go and somehow engage with the attorney real estate man, like who gonna just sit here and let you do that and then go and do all kind of unspeakable stealing of information over an ID? A real stripper would have busted him upside the head, took her ID, and ran out and moved on.
So
that was bad writing and unbelievable.
You're doing the most, Zach, because first of all, she's not.
I'm doing what I do, CJ,
No.
analyzing the actual text.
No. So if you really actually analyze the show, if you actually analyze the show, okay, listen, if you actually analyze the show, she wasn't even a stripper. She's not a stripper. She went there to go do a contest, and she wrapped up, and then she said she wanted the job. So
but the whole point of it is she's running,
and then she's running right to add on. Right. She's running from her past. She doesn't want she doesn't want nobody to know what's going on and what she's running from. So of course she's willing to do anything and everything so she can keep that on the low.
So exactly when you watch this new episode,
Leb, I have one name for you, and that name is Tillman. I have one name for you, and that name is Tillman. Continue on.
Carlos, we can't even talk about the new episode because he didn't even watch it.
No, I'm not going to talk about the new episode. I was just going to say you'll start seeing a little bit more of why she was like that in this new episode.
Right.
But I think that the reason why that was so important to her, and me personally, I know somebody who kind of went through something like that, where they were so busy trying to hide their identity that they would do anything to keep their identity hidden because they wanted to get a whole new start on life. And because she's running from something, at that point, she didn't have to go get another ID made or start all over with another name. So I think at that point, she was willing to do whatever it was that she could to get that ID back because that was the new life that she had started for herself.
No, I get it. I get how important it was for her to have the ID. I just don't believe that Uncle Cliff could have used that against her in such a way in a reality. I'm just saying I thought that was a stretch in the writing, and that was a weakness. To me, the strength of P-Valley is the creative storyline and the fact that they're taking a taboo, unknown subject like strip club culture and bringing it to the forefront for everyone to engage in. Here in Atlanta, we have some of the world's best strip clubs, and strip club culture is a part of our city and a part of the fabric of our city and a part of the story of our city, but many places in America lack that. So I'm thankful that they get to look into it, they get to see into it, and they get to experience it. But again, for me, the strength of any program, any text that I analyze on screen comes in the acting. And for me, I haven't seen high quality acting on this show from anybody other than Brandy. She's the only good acting I have seen. From what I have seen, a lot of the acting that I've experienced, I could have seen on any given Tyler Perry program on the OWN network or BET Plus.
The other person that I feel is after Brandy, what I would say as far as acting wise would be Autumn. And the reason why is because I don't feel like she's over the top with her character. Like I feel like she's very mellow. And I feel like she hasn't had a moment where she had to be very, very dramatic yet. And so
Carlos, her acting is the worst on the show.
You think so?
She has some of the most plastic, worst acting on the show. She's an attractive young woman, but her acting is absolutely stale.
I don't think she had a moment yet where it was like where I was like, girl, that's just too dramatic.
I
feel like she's been very mellow.
She was in a car having those flashbacks, and I wanted to. I mean, it was absolutely
awesome. Okay, that part was a little. I do remember that part now, and with the car wash.
Her acting was horrible.
Yeah, that was a little extra. That was very. I get what you're saying now.
No, okay.
I think
the fact that she's able to, her name is Alatra. The fact that she's able to change her voice, I think anyone that's from the UK that can do that, I think that's amazing. So she's actually from the UK. So the fact that she can switch her voice and sound like she's from, Mississippi, I think that's kind of dope.
Those accents are not Mississippi accents, so let her go back to England with that nonsense.
I was
Mhm.
I was gonna say now that part for me is why I feel like the acting is a little lackluster. Only because I feel like, okay, I get the Mississippi down south type of thing, but they had them talking like they're in like the 1920s or something, and for me, it's not real. I know people from Mississippi that do not talk like that, so I feel like it's trying a little too hard with the accent and the lingo. So for me,
You know, I'm from Mississippi. I grew up there my whole life. Like I'm from Mississippi. My whole education is there. I went to Mississippi State University. This is a thing. Patrick Ian Pope is also from Mississippi, so he, as an advisor, as a writer on the show, an advisor, he should have also kind of pushed for more authenticity in some of that as well. And again, I don't necessarily know if someone from England should be playing a Southerner from Mississippi. I don't know if that's appropriate. And that's just my opinion, because there are Southern actors and actresses right here all over the South that are able to play those roles and not being given the chance. I do want to support Leb's comment earlier with the attorney. The gentleman who plays the attorney on the show played Barack Obama in the Barack Obama story as well. And he's a good actor. But I have to.
Southside, sir.
You said what happened?
The movie called Southside.
Yeah, Southside. He did a solid job in Southside, but I cannot say I've seen evidence of great acting yet from him, although I know the potential is there. Maybe that goes to the directing and other elements of the show's production to be kind of stated and then also being shared. But again, as Jay says here, Crazy Boy, you know, some of the dialogue is not well written and it isn't very believable, and that could be impacting the acting as well. I agree with that. Rashad says that every actor has a green stage. For many of these actors, you go in for bad acting, which is typically a breakthrough role. Most of our favorite actors had bad performances at the beginning of their careers, and it got better. Well, good job to them. I hope that it does get better. I am going to continue the show. There are shows that I watch that the acting is so bad, I have to stop then and there, and I am unable to continue. Exactly, Timberland. You would have nailed the autumn role, and you would have looked better doing it. And, yep, we have seen worse acting, but I don't watch shows with worse acting. There isn't one Tyler Perry program, and I love Tyler Perry as a person for what he's done for the community, but I am unable to watch any of the programs that he produced, that he's done or been a part of. But I am going to watch P-Valley to see this season through and see it out. Again, people like that Mississippi don't sound like that. And then, no, Timberland, I'm not gassing you up. I'm being honest. Hey, look, everybody, look at her little profile picture right there. Timberland's a beautiful young woman, and she has a lot of talent, and it's a diverse talent that Timberland brings to whatever.
You're in Atlanta?
You said what?
You're in Atlanta?
Yes, Timberland lives in Atlanta.
Oh, okay, good.
And the show was filmed in Atlanta.
Okay, we have to get her on one day.
We will have to we'll have to do something with Timberland and get her on the show. So with that being said, that concludes the organized topics, gentlemen, that I have. And for those who are watching, are there any other pop topics that you guys want to share before we call it a night? I know that you want to get back to your taco meat, Carlo. CJ.
I haven't even cooked it yet. Thank you.
Okay.
Since you want to be funny.
Well, with that being said, thank you.
You got food over there already cooked?
No, I have nothing cooked to eat. I'll probably just make breakfast again. I'll probably just make some eggs and bacon.
Don't send me a picture this time of it either.
Well, yeah, I will. I'm gonna post pictures. I posted some pictures on Instagram and I post on Facebook my high protein, low carb meals.
Great.
So everybody, thank you for joining us. Continue to watch P-Valley. Definitely go out and download
Blank Slate
on iTunes the Carlos Duane album.
Blank Slate, please follow him on I Am Carlos Duane. Book him. You can hit me up at I Am Just CJ for any virtual interviews or virtual performances as COVID is still taking over. Be on the lookout for some new projects coming up very soon by him. all safe as well. And again, just support. Not only him, support all Black independent artists and support Black businesses as well that give you great customer service. Oh, even CJ? Does Crazy Boy J, hold up. Does Crazy Boy J have an issue with me, even CJ? Look, I want to address that part. Crazy Boy J, you just said even CJ. Is there an issue with Crazy Boy J?
No, I just think that he listened to your commentary and he's put you in the appropriate category.
He said good night even to CJ. So that means he was saying
CJ, even you are worthy of a good night. I want to say this. So I want to put
I'm worthy enough of the good night. So what is the beef? What is the beef, Crazy Boy Jay?
Maybe you guys need to have a face-to-face discussion about this one day. We'll make that happen. Let me say this. So also for everybody, before you guys log out, again, the 3+1 Media website is going to go live at the end of August, beginning of September. I work on it every single day. We have, I know many people haven't listened to the 3+1 podcast from the beginning. We have 68 podcast episodes done, and now we do our live stream every Thursday. We have annually we give out awards, like awards called the Plussies. Who are you going to give your Plussie to? So we are going to have our annual Plussies in September. So we want you guys to think about what were the best performances, the best songs, the best entertainment that you've had this year. And we're going to share out and have viewer choice and all that good stuff. So think about that. Maybe, is it possible that Brandy would be worthy of a Plussie?
Can we get her on the show?
You know what? Are we going to have... he does have toilet paper feelings, Crazy Boy. He does. Yes, he does. Very solid. Charmin. It's Charmin level, Charmin. And hey, Rodney, glad that you popped in.
Hey, Rodney. Crazy Boy J, actually, I don't. Yeah, I'm not going to say nothing else.
So, I am going to ask Brandy to join us once things die down for her. She's really busy. She's doing a whole lot of press and promotion. And, fingers crossed that, she will. So, and Candy had said earlier, she doesn't remember her writing. Candy, she never came to Rod's class. She came always to Keith's class. Keith, has the celebrity following and would bring in celebrity guests. So she always came to Keith's class, and she always sat in the front row right by me. So fingers crossed. I do hope that we can get her on, and that CJ, he's a fan favorite. Yes, Nish. Yes, sweetie. You haven't talked to me in 20 years, but you want to comment that you like CJ.
She's gorgeous too, by the way.
She is a beautiful woman. She's always been beautiful. So with that being said, everybody, thank you guys for joining. Be on the lookout. Can't wait for the Plussies. And
blank slate, please.
Please.
Yes. All of those things.
That's right. We definitely want you to check it and not just download it for the downloads, but go ahead and make that purchase on Apple or on iTunes. All right, everybody, good night and have an awesome rest of the week. I'll see you guys back on Thursday for 3+1, the live cast. I love you more.